to do with money. And some of those yogis are actually married, believe it or not. They're not participating in the ways that normal married couples participate, but some of them are married. So it's not like they're totally detached from the world's needs and their family's needs and the material needs of having a home and clothing, but they just think what God wills, God will provide, and I'll be fine. God's taking care of me. And so I recall things that Swami said to Roseanne and I personally through the years. And one of them was, I think I've shared this, in 1980, I had the unique opportunity to celebrate Hanukkah with Swami, and Swami lit the menorah, and I sang the prayers with a group of 25 others. And I was like the rabbi at the time. So, that's what they gave me, the role of that. So I sang the prayers to Swami. And as far as I know, it's the first time in all of human history that's ever been done in Judaism. But Swami was very happy. And afterward, we had a little gathering. And he said, when questioned about World War II and the deaths of 6 million Jewish people by one of the Jewish devotees who had lost a lot of her family members in World War II, he said, there are no victims. Then he said, because that was incredulous, I mean, it was incredible to believe that, and Swami said it, so it had to be true. Then he said, humans cannot understand the reasons why. Only God knows the reasons why. So somebody asked later, what about anger? And Swami said, just bubbles. Meaning it's just part of the dream. So then about 10, 12 years later, he said to Roseanne and I, just regarding some events that had happened around the ashram and around Putta Party that were pretty distressing. And I asked Swami, is everything your will? Meaning, were these things your will? And he said, everything is my will, even the way the blades of grass blow in the wind. So basically, he wasn't separating nature from God. He was saying, everything's God, everything's my will. Isaac Tigret, donated the super specialty hospital in Prashanti Nilayam in Putta Party. And he was a friend of mine. He had sat in the sand for 12 years and Swami ignored him. And then he sold his burger shop, basically, the hamburger joint. And you all know it, Hard Rock Cafe. He sold it and gave half of the proceeds to Swami to do with that as he pleased. And Swami said, well, what would you like me to do with it? And he said, it's yours to do with as you please. He said, well, what if we open, he didn't say what if we open a hospital in Prashanti Nilayam in Putta Party, and all medical care is free, no charge. He said, great. So Isaac funded the building of the super specialty hospital. And after that moment, and I was there when he offered, I wasn't in person with Swami, but I was there in the ashram when Phyllis Crystal's husband, Sidney Crystal, he was the lawyer for the Satyasai International Organization at the time, told Swami about Isaac's offer. And then Swami said, well, let me consider. And so they built the super specialty hospital. And ever after that, Isaac sat right next to Swami. And it was at one point I was in the orchestra, and before we play in the orchestra, this was in 1999, we took Pad Namaskar. And so I went up to take Pad Namaskar in the Purna Chandra from Swami, and Isaac goes, hi, Al. And I'm like, huh? And he was sitting there right next to Swami, and he just started laughing. And I was surprised. And Swami looked at me like, "Are you jealous?" But I wasn't. Thank God. It was really nice to see my friend who had sat in the sand and Swami didn't talk to him for 12 years, pretty much. Was sitting next to Swami. So the fact of the matter is, you never know what God has in store for you, or for me, or anyone. But one of the things that's really important is that we realize that this reality that we're experiencing now is exactly as God wills it. And so Isaac said to Swami about 2 or 3 years later, "Swami, if you leave the ashram to me to organize, I know exactly how to make it much better, much smoother, much nicer. People will respect each other more. The Sevadal won't give as hard a time to everybody. We can make some order." And Swami said, "I made it this way, exactly like it is, for a definite purpose." And when I first went to Swami's, the first day I was there, this first morning at 5 a.m. in 1978 in July, Guru Purnima time, I sat in the first morning in the temple for Suprabhata and Omkar. And I did exactly that. And all of a sudden, these two guys come and pick me up like I'm a leaf and throw me out of the temple. I thought, why? I didn't know you're not supposed to cough. I mean, Swami's room was right upstairs, so they all made people be very, very quiet. But I didn't know. And I just thought, God just threw me out of his temple. And that's how it all began. But the fact of the matter is, the world is exactly as God wills it. Later down the road, Swami said something to the Germans. He said, and I can never confirm this, but I had several sources say, yes, he said it. He said, in World War II, the reason that everything happened was because the Huns and all the others, Mongolian hordes and Genghis Khan's hordes and anybody who raped, pillaged, and plundered their way through Europe, indiscriminately killing and burning villages, killing the children, the wives, the mothers, the grandmothers. They didn't care. They just killed everybody in their path. Many of them wanted the opportunity to be in the golden age. And this probably applies to World War I too, but he was referring to World War II at the time, as far as I know. But he said, everyone who suffered and died in World War II, in any way, even if they didn't die, but if they suffered in any way, they chose that opportunity to balance out their karma from being evil, basically tamasic and rajasic beings like rakshatas through Europe, had the opportunity to balance their karma and join the new age, be born during the new age and have the opportunity to be in the new age. Of course, they have to think right, but at least as souls, they have to come in during that time. So that's the purpose of war often, to balance the karma. And God knows the reasons why, and humans can't. So our job really is to maintain equanimity and unconditionally love all and serve all. Don't help them murder people, but we help them do good for others and help evolve and heal. And, that's what is happening right now in the world. This is what is happening right now. So be patient. Don't ever give up sadhana. Persist. Perseverance furthers. And the most important thing is keep going with patience and have faith that what Swami said and has said and will say again as Prema Sai Baba, this is truth. And what he says in his teachings, we need to take seriously and live them as best we can. The rest is up to him because our karma gets in the way. So we do it the best we can. Roseanne would like to talk, share. So thank you for listening to me.
This is from Swami's book about meditation, Jnana Sahini, which he wrote. And what he says is, the path of achieving the absence of qualities is strewn with dangers. So he's talking about, before this, he's talking about we become one with God, we become qualityless. We don't have a lot of, greed and anger and all those personality things that we work on getting rid of.
Can everybody hear Roseanne fine? Yes? Okay, good. Thank you.
One cannot exist without activity, so one must of necessity act through good qualities. Right? We don't want to act through our bad qualities. So in order to, what Swami says before, this is basically, we have to build up good character. We have to become good people in tandem with meditation, because if you meditate and you're a bad person, you just become like a super bad person. So he's talking about really the purification process that you have to go through. And we have to do it ourselves. No one can do it for us. One must put down all desires and become free. The mind filled with good qualities will help in this process, for it will bear others' prosperity gladly. It will give up doing injury. It will seek opportunities to help, to heal, and to foster. It will not only suffer, it will also pardon. It will not incline towards the false. It will be on the alert to speak the truth. It will remain unruffled by lust, greed, anger, and conceit. It will be free from delusion. It will seek always the welfare of the world. From such a mind will flow an uninterrupted stream of love. You want to say anything?
I hope I can live up to that.
Yeah, me too.
It's hard.
That's what Swami wants. When this mind matures and attains fruition, and part of what he was saying before this is like, don't expect to do this when you're young. There aren't very many Ramana Maharshis walking around. It's hard, and it takes a whole lifetime. So Swami always says, start when you're young. But what you need to do when you're young is to do all things that you're supposed to do, your dharma and your duty, and develop all these good qualities of a good character. And then meditating all this time, and then as you get older, the meditation becomes much easier. So he says, when this mind matures and attains fruition, it easily becomes free of all qualities. It's placid, calm, and pure. It easily merges in the one Atma without a second. Unfortunately, though, man has the unique chance of tasting the inner peace that such a mind can grant. He is a stranger to the joy and equanimity that is his birthright. And we all suffer, and we all know that that's true. That this is our birthright. But what happens? How do we live this? He says, meditation is the only island of refuge in the ocean of life for all beings tossed on the waves of desire, doubt, dread, and despair. The Vedantic truth must be present in the mind, even while the world is being attended to. Consider the condition of this world hundreds of millions of years ago. At that time, this globe was the scene of two things only. On one side was the fiery lava which poured forth from the volcanoes and crevices that scarred the surface of the earth. The flood of destruction descended on all sides and spread fear and death. On another side, the scarcely noticeable molecules of living matter The microscopic amoeba floated on the waters or clung to the crevices among the rocks, keeping the spark of life safe and well protected. Of these two, one boisterous, the other quiet, upon which would have you built your trust? You know, if we looked, you know, in those days, if we were there and looked down on the earth, what would we have thought? This is what he's saying. The volcanoes, the earthquakes, or the little tiny one-celled or two-celled or, you know, beginnings of life, which one would continue? Since at that time, surely no one would have believed that the future was with the amoeba. Who would have foreseen that these minute specks of life could hold out against the gigantic onslaught of molten lava and earth-shaking upheaval? Those specks of Chaitanya, or life consciousness, won through nevertheless. Unheralded by fire and dust, by swooping gale or swallowing floods, the amoeba, in process of time, by the sheer force of the life principle it embodied, blossomed into goodness, strength, character, art, music, song and dance, into scholarship and sadhana and martyrdom, into sainthood and even avatars of Godhead. In all these, the history of the world is found summarized. In the confusion of overpowering events, we see men sometimes placing faith in loud and noisy men who are enslaved by their own passions. But this is a passing phase. It will not last. When things are placid, calm, and unruffled, man can get himself merged in the atmosphere of Maya-less Chaitanya. That is the highest we can reach. The Shanti we taste there is subtler than the subtlest. He must ascend to it through effort, guided by reason, through meditation. So Swami was getting us ready for this time when the world is so crazy, so difficult. The reason I wasn't here last time is because I had COVID. Our whole family got COVID. And, you know, we just went through it and we're fine, thank God. It was the second time we got it. And Baba took care of us. Baba always takes care of us. So through the cleansing of the mind, through faith, through just constant faith and constant work on ourselves and constant meditation, of it being a practice, a lifelong practice, we get to a point where we're peaceful no matter what's happening around us. So what would you like to say?
Hold on. Hold on. You know that song, hold on, when dark clouds fill your skies, hiding sunshine from your eyes. Say his name, see his form, hold on. My friend Hal Honig wrote that at a particularly difficult time in his life when his father was very, very ill and dying. And he didn't get to go to Prashanti Nilayam for 5 years because he had to take care of his father. And he was the regional coordinator of the Mid-Atlantic region. And he couldn't go. And he just kept holding on. And when he finally got to Prashanti Nilayam, Swami gave him the royal welcome. Just, you know, really took him in and gave him a lot of attention and his group a lot of attention and ever after that. So just hold on, say his name, see his form, meditate upon that. Meditate upon who we are, who you are. And are there any questions with regarding this before we go into meditation tonight? We're a small group, we have only a few, but it's nice if you have any question about this or want to share anything about this, feel free. to say what you like. Yes. You have to
Well,
unmute, you're right.
yeah. My question is, if someone is in grief, there's a lot of loss now. People lose friends,
Mhm.
family members, and so forth. And if someone is really in grief and they say they can't calm their mind and they can't meditate right now, what is your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Well, grieving is a natural process of human life. I've even seen Swami grieve his brother's passing. So, that's part of human life. And when we're going through that, we just have to do the best we can. Say, in the day, you can say Sai Baba's name. You could just say Om Shri Sai Ram, or any name you choose, of any form. They're all his. All names are his. All forms are his. But the fact is, the path through grieving cannot exclude God, because we are spiritual beings. So if we can't meditate, that's okay. But we can chant, we can sing bhajan, we can serve others. I know people who are grieving the loss of their husband, and they went in a soup kitchen and just volunteered for a year or two. And that helped a lot. And they went on long walks and they said God's name and they prayed, and that's helped a lot too. So these are the things about human life on earth. The one fact is we're all going to leave. This is a temporary stopping place. It's not our real home. It's the place where we learn how to love unconditionally. And also, I do happen to know that when people get to the other side, when they do leave the planet and get to heaven and beyond, there's a great celebration on the other side for those people that have been associated with them as souls, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and even in this one. So, it's just for us, we're left behind. We're really crying because, why did you leave us? This is terrible down here. Take me with you. Kind of, I know that every person who's ever lost a loved one very close to them, they always feel like, I want to go too. That's the first feeling that comes. I can't take this. I had that feeling when Sai Baba left. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to be here. So then I had, and there's others. I know others that were very close to Swami had the same feelings. And, here we are. It's up to God when we leave, not us. That's for sure. And so, just who are we? We don't stop giving and doing sadhana because somebody passed on. But grieving is part of that. So it takes a long time to pass through grieving. It could take 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. So, you want to say anything about it?
Yes, my father at the beginning of COVID passed on from COVID, and then like 6 months later, his brother passed on, uncle. And then another year after that, my mom passed on of natural causes, but they were all 90. They had very good lives. It wasn't, it wasn't objectively terrible, but it was hard. It was very hard. And especially when my mom died, I found that I couldn't really think for several months. My brain just was in just grief, I could function, and I did my mantra and everything like that. But as far as the concentration of meditation, it was not something I needed to do right then. And I just, I'd come and sit and pray and do what I could. And I think the most compassionate thing is just to let people go through their grief. And I'm somebody, I think after maybe 5 years of meditating, I was blessed to, one of my other grandfather, and my cousin had passed on, and they both came to me smiling while I was meditating, after they had passed on a few years later. And it's one really wonderful thing about meditation is it removes a lot of the veil, that separates everything. And you really know that there's no such thing as death. I mean, they were really just visiting me and happy. And I pretty much felt my parents. I didn't need to have that kind of, I already have the faith, so I didn't need like a spectacular thing from them, but I just know that they're fine. And my dad had waited around for my mom to pass, and they're fine. They're good people. It was just hard to adjust for me. So, just if you're grieving, give yourself space. It's very hard to concentrate. Meditation is something where there's a real level of concentration. And if your mind is in a strange place, it's just hard. The other thing that was hard was after having children, and that kind of sleeplessness, it was very hard to meditate. And I had to go into a slightly different consciousness, which meditation was more like all the time, because I just couldn't sit very much. My life was very different with little kids, and they get up every 2 hours, and it's hard to sit in that situation. So life is one of, you sit as much as you can, you meditate as much as you can, you go back to it. I mean, the thing I think that's a problem is people just sort of give up after something happens, and then they don't continue their meditation. But the earlier you start, the more established you are. That's, it makes it easier to go back to it. But it's just these times, very difficult times. People are suffering tremendously, and we just have to have compassion for ourselves and for them. And just the love that can flow through us is magnified by the meditation that we do, because the reality of the meditation is that love and bliss.
So Swami has told me several times, not just once, but 2 or 3 times, everyone and everything is in me. Everyone, everything, everywhere, always is in me. So if we have that awareness that the whole universe on all levels is the body of God, and that the absolute unmanifest, formless, is the basis of that and is eternal, and that we're an indivisible, infinite part of that, because we're in the omnipresence of God, Father, Mother, God, in form and formless. So to be aware of that, even through grief. Meditation is not the only way to know God. It's good if it's an easier way. It's kind of called the royal road to God. But saying the name in the day, or affirmations, or just feeling and remembering Swami's with you, or in you, all around you, throughout, whenever you can, those are ways to go to God too. Even singing bhajans, you can go to God. If you get lost in it, that's Mirabai's path. So, it's just a matter of intensity. And when we grieve, I always said to Swami, okay, you took my mother, you took my father. Okay, you're my father and mother, so do what you will. That was always my attitude towards Swami. When my father passed on, he wouldn't even let me go back to the United States and see him till after he passed on. He wouldn't let me be at his bedside. So that's fine. That's what Swami willed. There was reasons for it. I don't have to talk about those reasons, but there were reasons. When my mother passed on, I was right there, but not my father. So that was Swami's will. I was sitting with Swami at the time while he was passing. Well, not actually. I was in London, right, coming from Swami's. Yeah. But Swami, I got calls from my family, and Swami could have turned to me and said, go home. Like he turned to Michael Hollander one day. He said, go home, your brother's dying. Go be with him. He didn't say anything to me. He just looked at me. He looked at me and started crying. I had no idea why. Then I found out. But in any event, the faith that we have in God, and the faith that we have in God in all forms, in all names, and especially in the name and form of Sai Baba, will carry us through everything. we may go through something, but we don't feel like we're really going through it as much as a person who doesn't have faith would go through. That's grace. That's the grace of God that we have with us. So I hope this answers your question. It's a little lengthy, but it is an important question. It's a very good question.
Thank you.
All right. So shall we meditate now? Ready? All right. Roseanne's going to lead, and I will follow and wrap it up at the end. Let's close our eyes. Let's go within, and we'll do our 3 ohms, and Roseanne will take us away.
Check your posture. Make sure that your spine is straight, head direct. Your shoulders are relaxed. Just notice your breath. Feel your body, your diaphragm expanding as you breathe in. And feel when you breathe out. Feel how relaxing it is. Now breathe in very consciously. Feel the life force filling your lungs. Hold it a second. Then breathe out slowly and gently. Breathe in once again. Feel this life flowing through us. Hold it. And then breathe out. And as you breathe out, feel all discomfort and darkness leaving your body. Just feel relaxed. Breathe in again, this life of God. Feel it shining within you. Hold it. Breathe out, and all darkness, all tiredness, all dis-ease, leave the body. You're perfect in God's life. Breathe in. Feel this love and life flowing through your body. Feel it flowing into your legs, into your toes, into all your bodily organs, down your shoulders, into your hands, into your fingertips. Feel it flowing, all this life force. Breathe out, let all darkness leave the body. Breathe in again deeply. Feel this light glowing in your heart. In the center of your chest is your heart center. Just feel it glowing with love. And feel it rising into your neck, your throat, your tongue. Peacefulness, expressions of peace, self-control. Feel it just flowing into your ears, and hear goodness and mercy in our lives. Not looking for anything negative, looking for the positive in people and sound. Once again, just feel this light shining in your eyes. Eyes filled with love, filled with peace. Everything we look upon, everyone we look upon, look with love. There's no difference. There's no other. The mind seeks to separate. The heart seeks to see the reality that we're one. Feel this wonderful love that's flowing through the body.
Hi, buddy.
The pure love of who we are. It's light shining. Feel it filling our brain with light. Our brain is calm, serene, pure. Our thoughts are of love and of happiness. Let this happiness of God flow into your brain. And all darkness leave the brain. We are the one reality. Sat Chit Ananda. Truth, consciousness, bliss. Feel that bliss flowing through you. You are the divine bliss of God, Nanda. It's our birthright, Swami says. It's our real self. We learn to leave the mind behind. We dwell in this space of bliss. Our real home. With each breath, just feel yourself becoming lighter and lighter. Go in for a minute or two. Just feel this wonderful bliss of God. If any thoughts come in, just bring it back into this love, to this bliss. Feel how your brain, your mind is just calm and clear. Just go in quietly inward. The brain can have a long list of complaints. These aren't real. See them dissolve in the light. Just notice what your brain is just dwelling on. Is it fear? Is it desire? Just let it be filled with love. Everything is filled with love. Now let's implant in our brain the positive truth. I am God. I am God. I am not different from God. I am God. I am no different from God. I am the infinite, supreme, absolute. Sat Chit Ananda. Bliss. Truth, consciousness, bliss. Feel this truth. Truth. Feel it. Feel your true self. Infinite, supreme, absolute. It's our truth. Just feel it. Feel it within.
Expand beyond the boundaries of the body. Let this love flow out the top of the head to rise to that. Watch the sun rise in your forehead, travel in the sky, inner sky of consciousness to high noon at the top of the head. Let the mind dwell on Om in any name of God you choose. Om is the name of God, is the absolute, formless. Automatically, the whole of this temple of the body fills with light and love. When you rest at the top of the head with Om, whole of this temple sanctified by God. Om, I am. No labels needed. I am. Existence, consciousness, bliss, truth. Om. Let the gates at the top of the head open up at your own pace. Let this light of love flow out. It no longer can be contained by the boundaries of this temple. Temple walls become transparent. You shine out like the sun onto everyone and everything. Friends, family, strangers, acquaintances, so-called enemies, really best friends. They teach us how to love unconditionally. Everyone, see them in this light as they come to mind, if they come to mind. Expand. Everyone is the true you. Everyone is God. Everyone is Swami. Everyone is Jesus. Everyone is God. Om. Keep letting go into that. Come like the sun shining out into the world. Community, nation, all nations, world, all in the light of love that shines out from your heart, every heart. All beings, great and small, all things, all the atoms of the universe lit up by the light of love, the sky, the clouds, the stars, and the space between them. Shine out, expand with that truth. Om, I am. Om. As you sit in the light of love, let the mind draw it all back on like a laser. Let nothing else deter you from this reality of truth that is within you and within all beings, within the entire universe. God is, I am. We are one. Think like that. Affirm the reality. I am God. I am no different from God. I am the indivisible, supreme, absolute truth, consciousness, bliss. Satchitananda. Grief and anxiety can never affect me. Not the true you, untouched by grief and anxiety. I am ever content. Fear cannot enter me. I am God. I am not different from God. Think like this. Swami has asked for us to think like this. I am God. I am not different from God. I am the indivisible, supreme, absolute. Drop all the boundaries. Satchitananda, truth, awareness, bliss. Om. The mind wanders and you notice, lock onto Om. I am. No labels needed. Not this, not that. Just I am. Let it all go. Stay with the Om, it'll take you home. Stay with the name of God, it'll take you across the sea of Maya. The whole universe lit up by the golden light of love. The whole universe within the golden ocean of love. That is God's heart. Om. Keep letting go into that. And if you would like, think, contemplate on that. I am the source of all. I am the indivisible, supreme, absolute. We were never born, and we will never die. The raindrops have returned to the ocean. We are free. Believe it, because you are. You are free if you think you are, and you know who you are. No matter what the earth says or life, you are free. By Swami's grace, we are free. The grace of God. You believe the words, I am God, I am no different from God. You believe them, because Swami said it. Then you are free. Just a matter of time. If you believe it, this is your last life. Unless you choose to help. But it's nice to have the choice. You are free. Let everything else go. Let the Maya go. Om, source of all. Source of the thought I am. It's the true you, true me, true God in all, oneness of love. Om. When the mind wanders and you notice, come back to truth. The mind is the illusion. The heart knows the way. And the best that the mind can do is think on God and say his name. The body, the best it can do is to level and circle. We are all one. Swami's grace, Sai Baba's grace. We are all one. Oh, source of all. We were never born. We will never die. Before creation, we are. I am. During creation, I am. We are. After dissolution of all created universes, we still are. I am that I am. Indivisible, supreme, absolute. Hold on to truth. Hold on just moments, a few more moments. Hold on, dig deeper with the shovel of love to the heart space of consciousness and the truth of love, light within all beings, all things, everywhere, always, everything, everyone. It's all God masquerading. Take off the costume. Reveal yourself within us, Lord. Reveal yourself within us, God, please. Are the mother of us all. Reveal yourself within us, Swami. Reveal yourself within us, Sai Baba. Prem Sai Baba. Shri Sai Baba. Reveal yourself within us. Sit with the love that we were born of. Sit with the source of life that is life. Sit with the truth that is you. aware of how you feel this moment in your consciousness. All striving is not necessary. Just be. Just be. You are always free. It's impossible to be on earth. It's impossible to be alive without being totally free. It's only God that sustains, maintains, creates, ultimately destroys these temples. It's only God. Always. From the moment we're aware to the very end of evolution. It's only God. God is love, and love is God. Love all, serve all as that. Just be. Feel who you are. Just be. Oh, the mind reappears. Let it say the name of God in any way, any name, any form. And I go simple and short, effective. When the mind reappears, let it dwell on the name of God. See the form within your heart. Visualize, imagine that it is there. She is there. Durga, Kali, Parvati, Saraswati, Lakshmi, all there. So begin to breathe this awareness back into the temple, back into the heart center, the altar, in the temple of the body. Eternal flame of love burns brightly on that altar, the form of God within it. You adore. We're coming back into these bodies. Take your time to these temples. Let us home for peace in this world as we re-enter this awareness of the Maya of the world. We have the opportunity to bring peace, love, and light into it, understanding and helping of others. It's up to God whether that effect occurs or not. The best we can do is what all we can do. The right thing as best as we can. Oh. The world and all beings be happy and at peace. Peace of God. Shanti. 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 By Swami's grace, may all our needs be met. May all our dreams come true. And may we all realize the divinity of freedom that is within us all the time. Let us be free together. So breathe that love and that light back into the body. Be used as love in action in this world. That's what meditation is for, so that we may have love in action. Loving all and serving all, hurting never, helping ever. That's what we're here for. Learning how to grow into that which we truly are. Coming back in, breathing back in now. Coming back in where trees in the forest, roots deep into the earth, mother, connected to the core of the earth, we're grounded, grounded. Great trees with the leaves in the sunlight of divinity, soaking it up, strong redwoods and maples and oaks and sequoias. We're strong, straight, and true. Our roots are connected to the core of the mother from which they came. Our bodies, that is. So grounded are we. Take about 2-3 minutes before slowly opening the eyes. If you like. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. You want to share? Anybody would like to share, say anything? Share experience, or say anything that you would like.
Well, I'm not really, I'm really going backwards. That was really, I really didn't get anywhere this time. And I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm clogged.
Congratulations.
Really?
That means you're releasing a lot of stress or karma.
Well, and that was going to be my question before we started is, because I've been running through a lot of old things and thinking them, and I wanted to ask if you go back and you think about things and you express regret and send it, is that having any effect on karma?
Yes, it dissolves it.
Yes.
True repentance dissolves all karma.
Well,
All karma associated with that.
yeah, well,
yeah.
Okay, but I guess I have been running through a lot of stuff and I don't know what it is, but I still find myself so stuck. And
don't think like that. Think it this way. I am working very hard on me and cleaning out my subconscious, and all I see is mud.
Well, I end up asleep.
That's good.
An hour later, and all of a sudden I wake up and it's an hour and a half has gone by.
So let me ask you a question. Do you get enough sleep in the night? Do you get your 7 to 8 hours?
I wouldn't say 7 or 8, no.
That's what human beings need.
Well, I don't think I ever have gotten 7. Not
Well,
ever.
6.
I think more like 5 or 6.
Well,
6 is a good night.
unless you're Swami or Donald Trump, you need 6 to 7. That is the truth, but because Swami has said that it's the subconscious mind that works out things in the night. And if we're too tired because the body is tired from not having enough sleep, then during meditation, you're going to grab the body's going to grab the sleep, because when we meditate, our metabolism is as deep as deep sleep. Though the brainwave function is not the same as deep sleep, the metabolism is. So meditation is not a substitute for deep sleep, but it gives deep rest to the body. And if the body needs sleep, it's going to grab it when we're meditating. And that's fine. I fell asleep for the first 4 years of meditating, every meditation. So, but
I had one other weird experience a few months ago, and I didn't mention it. And this was just, it wasn't even meditating. But one afternoon, I had the feeling that it was like, imagine an Alka-Seltzer tablet. There's no other way to explain it, but it was like that. It came into me right here. And all of a sudden, I don't know how to explain it except to say, all of a sudden, I felt like, yes, I'm good.
about time.
And, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, my whole life
Catholic
I
or
felt
Jewish? What is it?
and
Are
then
you
next,
Catholic?
and
What
then next
race,
to it-
Catholic or Jewish?
pardon, what Catholic? But
Very
next to it, another one was inside, and it was Swami.
Oh,
Good.
And I saw, all of a sudden, I could see out, and I could see all the different, like, I don't know how to, senses of matter. And you know how Swami says, well, good and bad are the same thing?
Yes.
All of a sudden, I could see good things I did and bad things that I did. And oh yeah, well, they're the same thing. I could see them there, out away from me. And the next thing, I looked at Swami inside me and I said, I'm Swami. And then I got shocked at myself for saying that. And then I realized, yes, I am.
About time.
And it was this strange, but it's over here and it stayed there. And I still can find it months later, but it's not here. It's over here. And I don't know why.
Well, actually, where Ramana Maharshi pointed when he expressed that the God within us, where our soul resides.
it's one of our chakras, but it's not the one up the spine.
So what that means is that you had this deep experience of Swami being in you, and then you are Swami. That's the truth. You are God. And then that deep experience set off the cleansing of the subconscious for this past month you've been going through.
Months, yeah.
So that's part of the process of spiritual growth and awareness. And even to this day, my subconscious mind releases stuff during the day. That happens during the day in meditation. It's just a process of letting go, letting go, letting go. There's residue of experience that resides in our subconscious and in our minds, but we're not our experiences. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You're the observer of that. You're not your experiences. You're not your personality. We are not our ego personality or the experiences that this body has during this lifetime. We are none of that. We are the absolute in human form, God in human form, experiencing the Maya of life on earth. And if we don't buy it, then we're free. All we have to say is, this is a dream that I wake up from when I go to sleep at night. And I dream another dream and I have deep sleep in an unconscious state. I'm one with God in an unconscious state. And when I wake up from that night dream, I wake up into this daydream, but I wake up from this daydream when I go to sleep at night into the night dream.
And sometimes in the daydream, we have to go let the dog out. So I'll be back.
Yeah, my dog's barking. That's the thing.
I have to do that too. Okay.
So these things we have to affirm in our mind, because our mind is a liar. The mind is a liar. There's no thought in the mind that is truth. And if you want to experiment with why I say that, just think about this. If you say, I'm going to go to Prashanti Nilayam this year, the mind will say, oh, wait a minute here. That's a long trip. That costs a lot of money and it's very exhausting. And something could happen on the way and you never know. And it's dangerous and there's COVID, and they give 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't do it. And in your heart, you feel pulled to do it. And then you go, okay, I'm not going. The mind will say, the same mind will say, well, it's a good thing to do. And it's very spiritual. And it's a good pilgrimage. And Sai Baba might want you to be there, even though he's in the infinite and everywhere. That might be a smart thing to do. Then you say, okay, I'm going to do it. And then the mind goes, well, wait a minute here. We don't have enough money to buy an airplane ticket. This is what the mind does on everything. It'll give you one side, then it'll give you the other side. And if it was a roommate in college, you would ask for a new room and a new roommate. If you had a roommate that said everything in your mind that goes on throughout the day, which your mind is saying to you throughout the day, you would definitely say, oh, wait a minute here. I'm going to my college administration for housing, and I'm going to ask for a new roommate because I can't take this person. This person's talking all the time, telling me one way one day and one way another day, and next minute another thing. That's what our mind does. So I kicked it out. Swami said, kick it out. Don't listen to it.
Something got kicked in. That was different. Something got kicked in. You'll know this, but I actually went to Joya classes for a while, and then I left on purpose. But everything was, David, stop being unworthy. It was almost like every day.
What years were those?
Oh, those were the early 70s,
Yeah, okay, I missed. So that was a test for all of us. And that was the example of a spiritual ego gone awry. So,
well, it was true.
Some things were true and some things were not. So that's all right. Swami talked to me about it. But the fact of the matter is, well,
I kept with Hilda afterwards, and Hilda,
she corrected. So
yeah.
The fact of the matter is that all that is true is that God is everything, good, bad, and the ugly. And until we know that and live and realize that that's okay, then we're still reacting to it, and then we're not free yet because the mind is still active. Don't follow the mind. The mind is a liar. The foundation of the mind is the ego, and that's all it wants to uphold. It only upholds the ego. It's a calculator that remembers 2 and 2 is 4. And what day do I have this appointment?
Well, see, I'm trying to tell you, I've just been told 100% what the answer to that is.
And what is the answer 100%?
I'm not unworthy.
There you go.
That's it.
How can God be unworthy?
But yeah, finally,
Ego.
but it was.
Don't believe the ego.
It was really pretty amazing. Well, thank you. I'll try and absorb all this.
That's good. That's so my email address, if anybody wants to ask a question during the week, is fine. It's allevy@me.com. Very complicated. Just ALEV as in Victor, Y@me.com.
At me. M-E?
ME.
Wow.
The original Apple email.
Oh.
That's what. So yeah, just email me. If you have a question, I'll try to answer, except that I get like 100 emails a day and I have all the people that I have to see in the day and all the things I have to do, but I'll get to you. Just give me like 48 to 72 hours to do it.
Okay.
Prasanna?
Yeah,
Thank
fine.
Thank you.
Saira. Thank you, brother. So let's have some closing praise and thank you again for coming this month. So I'll just chant some closing praise and we can be done.
And we'll meet again the third Wednesday of July. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, third Wednesday. I'll see you then. And in August, I won't be around, so I'll be away. And
Okay.
we'll resume in September after that. Just skipping order.
Okay.
Goodbye.
That's good to know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Om Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Swami. Continue to be with us and inspire us to practice this meditation throughout. Sairam. Sairam, thank you, brother. Thank you, Sister
Thank
Rosa.
you. I'll
Thank
thank
you,
her.
everyone, for joining
Sairam,
us.
wonderful.
Thank you so much for being here
Bye-bye.
with us. Sarah.